All right, fam. Guy Torry was the brains behind the documentary, actually the Phat Tuesday. There was a documentary that was done on that, and we had a chance to talk about that and a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, y'all know when Guy and I get together, it's always shenanigans that take place, and this was no different.
Now when you were in school, were you always ready?
Dude, let me tell you something. In school, it was a school bus ride. That was like the comedy show. Like, if your gear was whack, like I said, we looked, we noticed him. Oh, he got on Pumas with a Nike shirt and Reebok pants on. Oh, he advertised for everybody. He a race car. So then once you get on that school bus and your gear is whack, I mean, call it bullying now, but back then, we hitting you.
Right.
That aisle was the catwalk. And when you walk down that aisle, we tearing that butt up with just jokes. And that's where it starts. It starts on the school bus, and then it went on in the classrooms and the playground, and that's how you earn your stripes.
Now, see, I have never cared about, for me, if the colors match, we fine. I wore it, and you were like, I can't believe he got on some Nike pants and Adidas shoes.
Yeah, man, I'm OCD.
And I literally was like, did any of y'all pay for this?
Yeah.
See, I was and then when I was in school, when that actually came up, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, aren't you on free reduced lunch? Then they get mad.
Damn, I'm like, the nerve.
And it's like, wait a minute, you came at me.
Yeah. If you can dish it, you gotta be able to take it.
That's my whole deal.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of comics
who want to start fighting.
There's a lot of comics who can dish it and can't take it. Because we're very sensitive creatures anyway.
Right.
A lot of us won't admit it, right? Inside we crying like a little baby.
A lot of comics who are, sensitive.
Very sensitive. And you just hold it. You don't let it show in front of the person who's roasting you. You got to hold it and wait till you go to the bathroom and let it out.
Who was the best at just roasting you?
Me?
Y'all know each other, whatever, and like every time you like, damn, he good.
Well, at first it's my brother Joe, of course, because he had the upper hand. He's a big bro, older bro, and so he was good at that. It's actually, works for Essence, Carmen Jones. She's not even a stand-up. But she comes at me with the short jokes, and it's funny because she's 6'9". I call her palm tree. But that's how when we first met. I met Carmen Jones in New York in 2010, NBA Draft Weekend. I was in town. I was hosting the Maxwell Jill Scott tour, and we had mutual friends at ESPN. So I met her. She was tall, and I made a street like joke, right?
Right.
And then we was trying to catch a cab, and we couldn't catch a cab. And she goes, usually they cab drivers stop with women who's holding babies. Guy, jump in my arms. and all I could do was like, I rock with you. I rock with you.
That's a good one.
But she sold it was so sincere. Well, they usually stop for women who have babies in their arms. Guy, jump in my arms. I was like, I lost it.
That's okay. Now I'm gonna have to go look for Carmen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look for Carmen. Let's talk about your doc, Phat Tuesday.
Yeah, man.
Folks have been talking about it. It's finally out because last time we chatted,
right.
Y'all were finishing editing, and so now it's out. And the thing that I think when I think about it, I sort of compare to the doc that Summer of Soul that Questlove won the Oscar for.
Yeah.
And there's so many things about our culture that cats didn't know about. So you see these documentaries of these other people,
right?
And you swear black people didn't do anything,
right?
But when you think about the things that black people have done, and then this is where having to tell our own story,
right?
Because otherwise, folk wouldn't know.
Right. And it's funny you say that, too. And Phat Tuesdays prayerfully were up for Emmy consideration.
How'd you hear about Phat Tuesdays?
How'd you hear about Jesus? People told you.
This is how we do it.
It's 1995. Comics back then were predominantly white, and I said, man, there's so many funny people doing comedy in the hood, but there was no one there to see them. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna change that shit.
God was like, Hollywood don't want to come to the hood, so let's take the hood to Hollywood.
Every Tuesday is in this room. Phat Tuesdays.
I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
I saw Chris Rock, Chris Tucker,
Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx,
Kevin Hart.
Every week, sold out.
It was the neighborhood.
For the first time, I was able to do black humor.
Man, this was really our space.
Phat Tuesdays was like a melting pot for like genius shit.
Stand-up comedy for black comedians, it was born out of some specific circumstances.
He stole my radio, my couch.
You stole my whole couch?
Comedians take these topics, take the stress off people, and make them fucking laugh.
They blame stealing on us like we invented it. Now, we may have perfected it. I mean, yeah, we may snatch a purse, but we didn't steal a whole country and call it the United States.
You would come here and the agents would see you. Maybe you get signed, maybe you get a movie, maybe you get a TV show.
It was one of the great renaissances of black comedians being ushered in.
People became stars, man.
When we created Wild 'N Out, Phat Tuesday was the model.
Film, TV, fashion, music, we all were thriving.
Yo, what's up?
Phat Tuesday was something very special to witness, to say you were there.
Straight up coming from the west side.
I had some fun here today.
So, you know, prayer warriors out there, you know, I hope we get that nod. But Phat Tuesdays is a documentary about a night I created at the Comedy Store to showcase black comedians. And it turned into the best damn comedy show, period. The most important comedy show, period, because so many comics came through there that are box office stars today, that are touring. You know, Kevin Hart, who opened, you know, Essence Fest, man, he came through Phat Tuesdays. And Nick Cannon discovered at Phat Tuesdays, and Mike Epps came through this. So it was such a platform to showcase comedians. And, you know, it was me bringing the hood to Hollywood, because after the riots in '92, industry quit going to the hood to see us. So I said, you know, let me create a night on Sunset where we should be anyway, and showcase black comics. And it's funny you say that, how you would square black people didn't do anything, because there's another cable network that did a documentary on the Comedy Store where I held Phat Tuesdays, and there was no mention.
Are you serious?
There was no. They had a 5-part series. And there was no mention.
5-part series.
And there was no mention of Phat Tuesdays. And Phat Tuesdays, my night, out of the mouths of the Comedy Store owners, even when we were shooting our doc there, said, man, Phat Tuesdays, it wasn't for Phat Tuesdays, would have been shut down a long time ago. He said there was times that if it wasn't for Phat Tuesday, they wouldn't have made payroll on Friday. And there was not one mention.
That is crazy.
In the documentary that was done on the Comedy Store.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But again, that's the story of black people, in terms of we've saved a whole bunch of folks' asses.
What?
And then,
networks.
And then when the story is told,
leagues.
It was as if we didn't exist.
Exactly.
Now, so as you were talking about...
That's why they're trying to remove us out of the history books.
Right, right. As you were talking about those names, one of the things that I find to be interesting is that when people, folk might say, well, God, I mean, you know, how does it feel? I mean, is this person, that person, so much bigger than you now? And people have said that to me with the number of people who come through my show who now appear on other networks,
right?
Who now have shows,
right?
And my whole deal is always, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
The whole point was to create the space for folk to be able to come in and show what they can do.
Right.
So I ain't got no problem when I see when Tiffany Cross now invites me on her MSNBC show. I'm not tripping because I've had an MSNBC show.
Right.
I did that. So folk can have a show when Angela Brown was on CNN, or Gianna Caldwell was on Fox News, or Paris and Ours, or Michael Singleton, and go on and on. That was the point, to create the space, because as we know, if we didn't create the space, there would have not been a space created.
You understood the assignment. And Phat Tuesdays was an assignment. And I'm glad God chose me to, to be the vessel. But it wasn't about me. It was never about me. I always did it to showcase other comedians, because let me tell you what happens. A guy like Chris Spencer comes to Phat Tuesdays. A guy like Kevin Hart comes to Phat Tuesdays. A guy like Cat Williams comes to Phat Tuesdays. Cedric the Entertainer. They make it, and now what are they doing? Guy, I got this show. They blew up, and now they're employing me for their projects. So that's how it's supposed to be.
So like Andre Harrell hires Diddy. Andre Hill later working for Diddy.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I've been on Real Husbands of Hollywood, Chris Spencer's called me for several gigs. Cedric, those guys, Cat Williams. So what happens is we're still creating opportunities for ourselves through other people. That's not why we do it, but it's a byproduct of being a vessel and being selfless.
Right. And I think it's the selfless part, because look, we know it's a whole bunch of folk who are real selfish, and one of my phrases is, yo, we all can eat.
Yes.
It's so much.
Yes.
No one person can literally eat. I talk about on an advertising deal. We talk to other black-owned media companies. I say, y'all, Disney is so large, they can't eat all of it.
Right.
So what makes you think one of us is going to hoard all of the black-owned media dollars? And me and my brother, we were talking. And I'm very serious about this. I said, if somebody came to me and said, Ro, you can make $500 million off this deal, or 10 of y'all can make 50, which one would you take? And I told him it would be the 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, here's why. I said, because for me, that's now 10 family lines.
Mm-hmm.
That's now 10 different generations.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you can't take none of it with you. I said, and then if 10 of us got 50, if it's like, yo, guy, let's all fly somewhere.
Yeah.
We're going to get together and play golf for the weekend. We all can afford it.
I'm tired of picking up the tabs. Hey, look, it's your turn this month, your turn next month, my turn, but at the same time, it's like with Phat Tuesdays, you said we all can eat. That was the whole purpose. When I created Phat Tuesday, I already had an agent and a manager. I was good. But I'm like, man, we can all eat. Let's go get this money. And that's what happened. The Comedy Store was that platform where industry came to scout talent. And I mean, Chris Tucker got Fifth Element because they saw him at Phat Tuesdays.
Wow.
I got American History X because they saw me at Phat Tuesdays. Will Smith was in there one night, saw Nick Cannon, and they met, and then that's how Nick blew up. Kevin Hart learned a lot of the business by networking at Phat Tuesdays. Cedric tells a story where he was in there one night, Martin was in there one night, and they said, man, we got to work together. We got to do a movie together. Next thing you know, Cedric was in Big Mama's house, too. So it's like, that's what it's supposed to be. Mike Epps was there one night, and Cube saw him, put him in Friday, and next Friday. Michael Blackson was there one night, just on the lineup. And they were in there looking at Mike Epps and saw Michael Blackson and put him in the movie as well. So that's what we're supposed to do for black people, is support each other and not compete, but support and root for each other.
That's it. Everybody can eat.
Everybody can eat. There's a lot of money. They printing it every day.
Right. And that's the deal. Now what's up? You doing more movies? Because your little crazy ass, some of the roles that you played, are you trying to pursue more of that, or you like, you know what, I'm just gonna really do the comedy thing?
I get that a lot, man. I stepped away from acting for a minute, man. It's just that to do it and to do it right, it's a mindset. And the older you get, it's kind of less games you want to play. It's a lot of tomfoolery that goes on in the acting stuff. They build you up and tell you how much they love you and love your work and blah, blah, blah. And you're canceling gigs, flying back in town, and then somebody who never acted before, gets the role because they got more followers. I'm just like, you know what, I'm too old for that. And but people have been like, man, we miss you on the big screen and da-da-da. So I'm starting to come back. When I did Real Husbands of Hollywood, I got bit a little bit by the bug. I just finished the independent film called Hope Street Holiday. And Hope. I'm sorry, Hope.
I'm sorry. That was Hope Street Holiday.
Hope Street Holiday. So I'm getting bit by the acting bug again. But it's a mindset. If you want to do it and do it well, which I'm a perfectionist, it's a mindset. So it's getting that mindset of committing myself to do the work. And, I'm, good friends with Virginia King. She's like my sister, basically. And I've been around her when she's studying and preparing for a role. I mean, it's her diet, it's her exercise, it's dissecting the script with a fine-tooth comb and finding the nuances of a character. And I've been around her several times when she's been doing that, and it takes that. That's why she's one of those greatest actresses of our generation, because it takes that mindset.
I ask you this here. There are, and I've heard this, and I've been paying attention to it. You got some old school comedians who are, because when you mention how many followers, you got some folks who are not happy that individuals are getting opportunities with the social media followers that they've built up. And I get it. My whole deal is if you ain't good, I totally understand that. But I love what a dude like Country Wayne did. I love how he used social media, and he posted something and I loved it, where he said, they told me the only way I could hold major concerts, I could hold doing big shows in big venues, if I attached myself to another big name comedian. He said, but I didn't. But how he used his Instagram following and Facebook to actually do what he's doing. And it was one comedian who was sort of complaining about these folk doing skits and stuff. But I'm also looking at how he said, I'm doing $300,000 a month, working 10 hours a week. And my whole deal is, I don't necessarily see that as, well, you're not doing it right. You're just operating in a different time. And people are using venues in a different way, as opposed to, you need to come through the grind of the comedy circuit or whatever. Look, you take advantage of what you got.
Right.
And then, in the day, you got to be funny.
Right. First of all, I love it. It's just a new portal for to showcase themselves. I think what, as Bob Sumner calls them, social medians, I think what they're doing are great. I think that's a different skill in itself. I've tried, and I'm not that good at it. But what Country Wayne and Kevin on Stage and all those other comedians are doing it, what's my man, King Batch and all those, what they're doing with that stuff is phenomenal. I mean, and that to create that stuff and do it on your phone and stuff like that, I applaud it. And if they step into the stand-up arena, what I hope that they do is do the grind as well. If you want the best of both worlds, you can have the best of both worlds.
Right.
Why not be great at the craft when they come see you, and be great at that too?
Right.
Just put in the work. But I applaud this generation of social medians.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, and again, I hit one person offline, and I said, no, you need to be learning.
Yeah.
I mean, my deal is you can be an OG, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn what is happening now.
Yeah.
How you need to make that shift, because guess what? As you get older, you may not be able to be as mobile.
Right.
So now you're stuck.
Right.
Now you can't hit that roll with that guy.
Right.
Now you ain't eating.
And during the pandemic, you had no excuses to learn to do it.
Right.
You had a lot of time to find your
What's up, y'all?
I tell people all the time, young artists, whatever, find your it. That it is what separates you from everybody else. That's your it. You don't know what it is, but when you find it, you're gonna say, "That's it."
And I know some entertainers, man, who told me they burned through savings and all kind of stuff because the gigs were drying up.
Right.
And I was having conversations with them. They were asking me, okay, Roland, what camera do I need to get? What about lighting?
Go
Should
gadget,
I get a
man.
ring light?
Do I need a drone? Trying to find a drone in their little ass apartment.
And I was like, well, you can get a DJI Mini, or you can get a Mavic Pro 2, or you can get this one here. You can get the FPV. And they were all like, what the hell are you talking about?
It's too much. It's too much.
But again, but that's, I mean, I just want, especially folk who are older. Yes, you may be in the game longer. You may be, but never stop learning, because to me, when the industry shifts,
right,
and you're just hell bent, it was like Spike Lee talked about this here, how his dad just, I'm playing stand-up bass. But music changed where they were interested. You bring that big ass bass around. I mean, no, he was like, and his dad said, no, I'm not doing it, and that was a cost for his family.
Yeah,
him taking that stand.
Yeah, yeah, you got it. You never stop learning, and it's okay. I mean, technology changes. Change with it. What's the problem?
Well, I agree with that. Got to ask you this here, and that is, I know how I feel about it, but so I'm going to ask you. When you hear all these people who still say, oh, my God, I'm still traumatized by Will slapping Chris.
I was traumatized that night.
No, I'm talking about.
I know, that night.
It's July.
I'm over it now. It happened.
Right.
It happened. It shouldn't have happened. In my humble opinion and my analogy of it is the fact that Will is not a stand-up comedian, but he's wired like a stand-up comedian like you are, right? But he could have done stand-up. Either one of you could have done stand-up. If you read Will's book, there was a lot of trauma in that book growing up. Comedians are dark individuals on the inside, and we do comedy to hide that darkness, all the goofiness and all the jokes, really something going on the inside. And I think with Will, in my humble opinion, that all that trauma that he had growing up, the jokes, the funny, he's a great comedic actor, all that he was hiding he was hiding that through his comedy, suppressing it. Right, and you can only pretend for so long.
Right.
And it got to the point where it was like, enough is enough. And because in my opinion, what Chris said didn't warrant that at all. So I think it was, if you look at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air versus Bel-Air, the new show, I think Bel-Air is the real Will Smith. I think that's who he really is in real life. That was the Will Smith that went up and attacked Chris Rock. And I think the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was the masked Will Smith. So it's something deeper going on the inside that had happened. But for the record, I'm a big Will Smith fan. I'm a big Chris Rock fan.
Yep.
But that wouldn't happen to me. I'd have ruined that damn award show. I got a Napoleon complex too. Man, let me tell you something.
You have a history of fighting.
Yeah. Hey,
you got history.
Will is dope, but I'm telling you, you played Ali. You ain't Ali. You would have heard these little feet run behind you and right in the back. He probably would have went, something just sting me. But I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not as classy as Chris Rock.
So you said you would have not have kept presenting.
No. Oh yeah, another fisticuffs. All day long, all day strong. Yeah, or every time on site.
All you would have heard is Will Packer in the control room. Go to break! Go to break!
Right.
Go to break! God Torry's about to strangle him.
Hey man, I'm sorry, man. I'm not that classy.
Has anybody ever walked up on you on stage?
Oh yeah, I was in Pittsburgh one time, and I was doing a Mitt Romney joke, and it happened twice. One in Pittsburgh, one in Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio. I was doing a Mitt Romney joke, and this white lady took her water and threw it at me on stage, and walked out. Yeah. And then I was in.
No, hold up. What'd you do?
I was like, hey man. I mean, I dodged it, but I was like, hey sir, you need to get your wife. You need to get your wife. I said I don't hit women unless it's doggy style, but but I don't hit women, so you need to go get your wife. And then I was in Pittsburgh, man, and I did a Mitt Romney joke, and this old white dude looked like Walter H. Brimley, the diabetes guy.
Big mustache.
Yeah, he got up with his sons and was walking toward the stage, and I just walked closer to the stage, but I had three friends who were Pittsburgh Steelers in the audience, and they stood up, and I was like, look behind you. You're wrong. But this is before, Trump. This is the Mitt Romney, they was getting hot. Boy.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
You said, look behind you. The posse back there.
Right there. Yeah. Yeah, so it happens, but never to the point to where, Chris Rock, but Steve Brown, the comedian, Steve Brown.
Yeah.
And when he was at that comedy club, and this guy just got out of jail, And he attacked Steve Brown on stage, and it was huge. And the comedy clubs should have more security.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, security didn't jump on that right away. And Lunel talks about it all the time. It's like it's easy for somebody to run up on stage.
Oh yeah,
with us.
I mean, you're literally. I mean, when you were the DC Improv,
yeah,
I mean,
he right up on you.
I mean, that table's like this
touching the stage.
This is the stage.
Yeah,
and when you standing right there,
yeah,
they sitting here. They can sit here and pull your pants down. Yeah. That's how close they are.
That's true though. That's true. That's true. Wow.
That is wild. That is wild.
Yeah.
So, damn, they were that stressed over Romney?
Romney, yes. Yeah. I mean, I was going with the jokes. You know, I go in.
But here's my whole deal. And I don't care. This is just the way I look at it, and people, and I don't, and I've said this to many people before, that to me the beauty of the stage,
I love it,
is truly the unfiltered space, and comedians are going to say stuff that nobody wants to say, scared to say, and then they're going to multiply it times 100.
Yes.
And that's what when you walk into that joint, that's like, I've covered Republican conventions, Democratic national conventions. I can't go to a Republican national convention and be sensitive about them criticizing liberals.
Right.
If I couldn't go to a Democratic convention and go, they really should not be talking about Republicans.
Right.
I mean, again, if you walk into the venue, you know what you're going to get. Then people like, oh my God, but why do they have to be so personal? Why, you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, y'all, no, the beauty of comedy, nobody's off limits.
Hey, I have Jesus jokes. So what makes you think you safe? And, you know, I got jokes about Jesus. And so my only no's are I don't do plus-size women jokes. I don't talk about the R word. I ain't talking about Kelly. Women being sexually, I don't joke about that. Those are the only two things that I don't talk about. And cancer. I don't joke about those three topics. Everything else is fair game.
So you don't joke
fat dudes, you fair game.
But not plus-size women.
Not plus-size women. It's low-hanging fruit.
Oh, I thought they one of them probably beat your ass one time.
And that too. Look at the real issue. That crushed me.
The real issue is you don't want to trigger somebody.
Yeah, because I don't hit women. Like it's doggy style, and I may not be hitting one of them doggy styles. But those are my only three, you know. No's. No. Other than that, hey.
Okay. Last question. Who would you living? Who would you? I won't say would hate to follow, but who would put some heat on you if you had to follow them?
There's a lot that put a heat on me, but I wouldn't mind following them because I always try to set myself up to fail so I can win. If I think I'm one of the big kahunas in this game, I will follow somebody and see where I'm at. Like a
lot of comedians are like, I ain't nowhere in the world I'm gonna follow Bernie Mac.
Oh yeah,
but I'm talking about just
right now living.
So, and again, it could be somebody we don't know, but they bring it.
Earthquake, man. You know, Chappelle, Rock. I mean, they because of just, the Earthquake was because of his energy. You know, he's Gatling gun. He don't stop. Chappelle with his amazing storytelling. If you ain't telling stories like Chappelle, you don't want to follow that with your little weak ass storytelling. And Chris Rock, if you ain't coming with that cadence and that energy, and you don't want to follow that. And I study all three, so but it'd be interesting to see, where I stand.
Right.
And I've had to do it before, like in clubs.
Right.
But not on a bigger level, a theater or an arena. But Okay,
I'm actually gonna make this the last question. What is your dream show in terms of if you put a show together right now?
A comedy show?
Comedy show. Man, I put this lineup together and it would just sizzle.
Oh man, it would definitely be Chappelle, Rock, Quake, Kevin. You know what? Coco Brown. Gotta have some women on there. And I think that would be...
Who opens?
Coco would open.
Who closes?
Chappelle would close. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, would you pull a Motown Berry Gordy, and depending upon what they used to do is whoever killed it, the previous show, they would flip it.
I mean,
they would do is they would sit here and go, tomorrow night, Supremes are closing, and Marvin would sometimes be upset, but then what would happen is Marvin would go out, and then Smokey was like, they would bring that heat, and they would like, say dog, Temptations closing now, and then they would it was like this constant deal where they were like driving them, and it was like straight up, didn't matter. You could have had the #1 record out. They'd be like, say dog, they killed it live. They closing.
I gotta have Cedric in that lineup as well. I gotta have Cedric because he brings something different from all of them.
What's that?
Except
y'all being from St. Louis.
Just likable, funny, where it's just like stuff you really shouldn't be laughing at, but says it in a way to where he gets away with it.
Okay.
And it's just, so he would definitely be in that lineup as well. But here's the thing, talk about lineups. But yeah, I would flip it if need be. Kings of Comedy Tour. I was the first host of Kings of Comedy Tours. Me, Cedric, Bernie, and Steve. Steve closed that show. And Steve admitted to himself, he struggled coming behind Bernie. Bernie would leave that stage. There was nothing left in the building. Nothing left.
Teddy Carpenter was on a live recently, and he said he had a shot at a major tour, and he said it was him, DC Curry, Tommy Davidson, and he said DC Curry came on first, and he followed him, and Teddy said he's like, DC dog, I need you to pull back. He said, Doc.
Yeah.
He said, one, I ain't got nothing to follow you. And he said, Tommy closed it because Tommy had the bigger name.
Right.
He said, DC just destroyed that stage.
He sticks it in you and then turns it, and just your stomach is just,
DC didn't learn the lesson. Ed Levert tried to tell Gerald. So Gerald's supposed to go into a baby face.
Right.
And Eddie was like, now, son, look. He said, you can't go out there and do what you normally do. He said, and that boy's soft.
Right.
Tell him, and that boy's soft.
Right.
I had Eddie tell his story on the radio show. Eddie, man, people calling me all over, Roland. I said, you don't want to say the man soft. I just asked the damn question. How you mad at me? You knew the microphone was on. How you mad at me?
Hey, Mike's always hot.
And he said, and so he was like, son, protect the money. Don't go out there. Yeah. He said, man, Gerald went out there, and he was sort of like Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls, when he went to the White Club.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he said, man, Gerald, and it just went there. Man, the panties came flying out, everything. And when he got done, when they were at Madison Square Garden, sold out.
Oh, yeah, I played that before.
Wasn't no tour.
Yeah.
Eddie was like, son, I told
you. It's like it's like catching the Holy Ghost. You can't control it. When they're screaming for you and you in that zone, nothing you can do.
Yeah, I see why Steve said Bernie was
and then when I left the tour, I voluntarily left the tour, and they moved Steve to hosting and added DL. And then I think Bernie may have closed that tour.
Oh yeah, and he did. Yeah. When I saw them in Houston, he closed. Yeah. Cat's bad, but that was a whole different level there. That's like being a musician. You trying to follow Charlie Wilson.
Oh man,
you ain't trying to. You ain't trying to you ain't trying to do that.
No.
Look, Lionel Richie's my frat brother. Love him dearly. But when Lionel closed Essence on a Sunday night and Charlie came on before him.
Yeah, it's styles. It's different energies. It's nothing to do with one is more talented or less talented. It's just a formula.
But when you take the room that high, it's hard to come behind. I mean, when somebody leaves it way up there, unless it's just a different thing.
Plus, Lionel got that underbite too. That there's
See, we're gonna go ahead and end this right now.
He looks like a castrated drove.
We're gonna go ahead and end this right now. Cause see, Lionel got so much money.
He does.
Hey, may never see Guy Torry again.
Pause, but I got some of his, his linen. He got, bed sheets and stuff. Sorry, Lionel, but hey.
Forget bed sheets. I'm talking about songwriting money.
I know. Well, property.
Hey.
He own a lot of property.
Hey.
In Beverly Hills, Los Angeles.
Hey.
Long money. As long as that chin.
Long.
I thought he played for the New Orleans Pelicans for a minute. Hello. Is it your jawline I'm looking for? That's why people don't like me, man. You called them.
You better hope Frat don't pick up. You know how I'm calling?
Hey, this is Joe Torry. Don't pick up. He actually called him too. He called him too. Only rolling and just let me talk to Barack. Rolling can
we did the interviews in L.A. that when I interviewed Matty Rich, he told me he said that him and Spike had never really talked in 20 years.
Really?
And boom, Spike answers.
You got Jesus on there too?
Yeah. And then Johnny Gill. I asked Johnny. I said, Johnny, if you did what kind of album would you want to do? He said, I would love. He said, a gospel album with John P. Key. I said, oh, cool. He said, I ain't never met him.
Wow.
So you never met John P. Key?
Right.
I was like, Anthony, go get my phone.
Did Johnny I go? Johnny got that eye that goes solo sometimes.
Shades on.
He had shades to get that eye.
See, right there.
But it's just a weak muscle. If he put some Viagra in his eye, it'll strengthen that muscle. Pray for me, y'all. Pray for me.
Yeah, I'm about to pray for you.
Don't call him.
You better hope Johnny Gill.
Well, he's probably working on the steps for tonight.
Johnny?
Yes, sir. Hey, man.
I'm interviewing Guy Torry. And Guy...
Don't believe it.
Guy he's been... I told him I interviewed you when we called John P. Key. And Guy's been real disrespectful, Johnny.
No, man. No,
he disrespected Lionel Richie, so I hit him on FaceTime. And then I mentioned you, and he was like, well, did Johnny want I follow you? And I was like, I'm calling. Go on.
Hey.
Johnny, I got the evidence, Johnny. I got it on tape.
Hey, man, don't believe him, man. You believe a man with no neck?
And trust me, this little cockroach said that. you know doggone well. You know the offspring of Ike Turner said that.
And he's sitting there looking like Shrek with that shirt on. Have a good show tonight, man.
Well, John, when you see Guy tonight, trust me, look for the little Negro dressed in Old Navy clothes. I will see you tonight, baby. Yes, sir. I'll be down front in all white. If Bobby late, let me know. I'll be on stage. All right, my brother. All right, please. See? I'm not the one.
All right.
Good
night. I always love rocking with you. I always love rolling with you, rolling.
That's right.
Yeah.
How we do it?
Yes, sir. Hey, what's up? Geek Torry in the place to be. Got kicked out your mama's university, creator and executive producer of Phat Tuesdays, an air hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Made the simple way. With real lemon juice, 75% less sugar, and say yes to simple.